My life is a miracle. Every child has a story of God's love to share. Shalom world, tune into God's love story.
Today, there's 1.1 billion people in the world living without electricity. So that means there are more people living in darkness today than were alive when Thomas Edison invented the light bulb. I am Nancy Economo, and I am the founder of Watts of Love. Watts of Love began in 2009 with a business trip to the Philippines with my husband. And when I was there, I was really curious kind of how the people living in poverty, what that looked like, because here in the United States, I had never really seen true poverty. So I went to a feeding program where I saw a young girl whose face was burnt all over, and the teachers there were putting toothpaste on her face. And I said, "Why are you doing that?" And they said, "Because we don't have any burn medicine." And this young girl was burnt by kerosene. They have no lighting. And seeing this young girl, her face being burnt, and hearing that they didn't have electricity, I thought the challenges of living in darkness as a mother, like how to change diapers, how do you care for a baby if your baby's sick, and then the burns, how devastating that would be every night, to only have kerosene as an option for lighting. So when I came home, I obviously had my 5 boys and lots of laundry to do, and I had every excuse not to move forward with Watts of Love, but I felt like God was asking me to bring solar lights to people. And so I started to dream, what would that look like? And I came up with the name called Watts of Love. And I would just share with my friends and my family that I have this dream and this vision of bringing solar lights to people. In 2013, after years of dreaming with God and deciding that this was something that He was really calling me to do, I stepped out really in faith, and we brought our first 1,000 lights to a remote island in the Philippines. And when I got there, I found out that all 1,000 lights were stuck in customs. And for me, it was, oh my gosh, I'm going to be a failure. And somebody who was there with us said, "No, Nancy, don't you think God has a better idea than you do?" And He does. And what happened was we had 3 lights in my suitcase. And the very first light that we gave out was to an older woman, and they called her Nai, which is old lady in Tagalog. And we said, "Oh, Nai, we're here to give you this light." And she had been identified as a person who was in the most need on this island. And when we went there and we showed her her light, she burst out crying, and she said, "I cannot accept this from you. I am too poor for you to love me." And I was shocked by her reaction and the words that she used. She said, I've been cursed by God, I've been abandoned by my family, and I've been forgotten by my government. And so we said, "Oh no, Nai, we're here to tell you you're loved, you're seen, you're valuable." And so after that first light, I was thankful that all 1,000 were stuck in customs, because now I was slowed down enough to hear her story and to hear her heart. And then so the next night we delivered the next light, and that was to a family, and her name was Emily, and she was a mother of 7 children. And so as mother to mother, I woke up after she had had her light. I woke up the next morning and I ran down to hear her story What was it like to live in darkness? And now you have this bright light. So when I got to her, she said, I put all of my children in bed and I stayed up and I made 1,000 bamboo barbecue sticks. So what she taught me was that people are instinctively want to help themselves. So then the next night, we gave another light out to a gentleman who I went to him and he said, do not speak to my wife. She has no education and she won't understand how to operate this light. And so I said to him, what's your family situation like here? And he said, tonight, we licked our fingers, we dipped it in salt, and we rubbed salt on our tongues to trick our body into eating. So again, I was just shocked at the level of poverty and resources that were available to these people. 30 days later, all of the lights were released, and I wound up going back to the Philippines to help distribute those. And the amazing thing from that was that woman, Ruth, came down and said, we have not gone hungry one day since we received our light. I pretend every night that I'm buying kerosene and I save my money. So when kerosene is eliminated from a family's budget, that's like 30% of their annual income has now been eradicated. So we spend a tremendous amount of time educating families so that they can reinvest that kerosene money into something that they desire. We want to make sure that we see every person. We want to know their name. And it's the love and attention that renews hope. And through that renewed hope, people begin to dream again. They get to think, okay, I'm no longer buying kerosene. I have my kerosene money. What do I need? What's the desire of our family? Is it a chicken? And we show them a pathway out of poverty. Start with a chicken. And usually on average, they can purchase 2 chickens a month. And from that chicken, they go to a pig or a goat or to a cow. And that's a sustainable solution for the entire family.
Many of these communities, they've never had savings. There's no banks, there's no financial institutions. And so, and they've also never had any kind of disposable income. So we're giving them the idea that if you take that money that you were spending on kerosene, on batteries, on flames and matches, you can take that money and save, pay yourself first. And so that is oftentimes something that they've never been introduced to, they've never thought of. And what's amazing is while none of these communities have financial or math literacy, they may not be able to add, they know what something costs. And so we'll demonstrate in our empowerment model that in 30 days, you could save this much. What could you buy? And that's really oftentimes we're the first people to have them think about what their dreams or what their future could look like. They've never thought of a different future. And so that's really what makes us so distinctly different. Also, it's just so simple. The delivery model of our program, we go in and that night, there's impact. That very first night, they start to save. That very first night, we've eliminated kerosene, we've eliminated the dangers of things that lurk in the dark, like bats and rats and scorpions. So it's just so simple, it's immediate. And after that, it's up to them. This is not something that we have to go back day after day. This is their choice, and this is their opportunity to change their lives for themselves.
We truly believe that a light is an opportunity, and that opportunity comes by way of a tool. It's a tool. So we just don't want to give something to someone and then walk away. This tool is an opportunity for them to lift themselves out of poverty through education, through no longer purchasing kerosene, to starting micro businesses. So the tool as an opportunity looks different from each recipient. What they do with it allows them to decide a little bit of their own future, their own path, their own destiny. And I think that is incredibly profound. It kind of makes people realize that they're responsible. Everybody wants a chance. Everybody wants people to believe in them. And then when they're given that chance, it's then up to them to believe in themselves.
So when we were in Kathmandu, right after the earthquake, we were delivering a light up in the mountain, and someone shared with me that there was a leper colony about an hour walk, and I was so excited to go to this leper colony. And we went down, and there was 250 people impacted by leprosy. And when I walked in, I was completely consumed with love. I just walked up, grabbed their faces, their hands. We had only 2 lights to give out, but we gave them to the local nurses right there that were caring for the people. So we went back a year later to light the entire leper colony. And when I was there, I was so excited, and I handed our first lights, and I realized, oh my goodness, they don't have fingers. They don't have hands. And so we sat and we taught every person how to use their light, and we saw so many challenges with the lights that we were giving them. So when we came back, I truly believe that God had a vision that He showed me to bring lights to those people. And so we came back and we created a special light that was influenced by them. This was the first light, which is amazing. It has 4 light settings. It has lasted years, and it has a solar panel. But what we started to realize is what people really need in the field, and seeing the problems and coming up with a solution here back in America that's going to fit their needs. And we started creating, as you can see here, we started coming up with how can we make something really small, compact, and portable, that if this is a tool that's going to raise them out of poverty for years, we want it to be absolutely the best that we can give them. So when we were looking at our light, we wanted to make sure that it was robust and completely water resistant. So if it gets wet, it's not going to be damaged. So this light is completely sonic welded. It comes with a solar panel on the back. So this goes in the sun for about 8 to 10 hours, depending upon how low the battery is. And then the front is where the LEDs are, and there's 4 light settings. You push and hold for 5 seconds. Number 1 will last 120 hours continuous runtime, 10 hours of continuous runtime, 2.5 hours, and then there's an emergency strobe. So when we were looking at this light, we designed it, number 1, to be worn around the neck as a lanyard. So that eliminates for safety and security. It's physically on their body, so as they're charging it, they don't have to leave that up. The solar panel would sometimes get stolen. Now it can physically go with people. You can also unclip that, and it can go on your head as hands-free as a headlamp. So you don't realize, but this is something that's really needed as you're caring for your children or working in the field. We're here today to give you this solar light because we know how challenging and how hard it is. Here is the solar panel, and that goes in the sun, that's charged by the sun every day. And then you push the button
I'm gonna have the finger put down.
It's very bright.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then when you are outside, you can see very far.
Yeah. Mkakhaa kunje kule unakozama unakutaka unaona.
We rely on our local partners, and we need to select them first on ensuring that they share our same heart posture and they share our same mission and values, and then making sure that they have the capacity and resources to facilitate a light distribution. We have guidelines for our partners to ensure that we're selecting the right groups of people, that it's need-based and that it's not based upon personal preferences. And then from there, we have our global travel team members. Those are volunteers who have said that they want to join us in the field. They cover all their own on-the-ground costs, and they join us as we are in the field. We work side by side with local partners and translators to do the hands-on training of the lights and the empowerment.
When people are first receiving their light, one day I was able to be the one to pass out the light, and you just see their faces light up and they smile from ear to ear and they hug you, and you can just feel in the air there's a change and there's hope, and they just feel so blessed, and you can see that light they know is going to make a difference in their life, and it's just the most incredible thing to experience firsthand.
When a woman without fingers is able to turn lights on and has smiles from, on her entire face, it's hard to accept it. We have what we have, and there's so much we can do to help, but we aren't even aware of what the opportunities are to help people around the planet. So this was very touching.
When I heard that the Father is calling me, I reached there and I found that Father has chosen me among the 5 best to come and train people how to use light. I was very proud. I was very happy to enjoy the works of love, and I was willing to do it with my own best, with my own opportunity, so that I uplift works of love up to where will be end.
One of my favorite success stories from the field is Daisy. Daisy was an interpreter that we met in Haiti, and we came back and wrote up a list of what we were looking for in a translator based upon not the things that we liked, as with Daisy as our translator. And when we returned the next year, she said, "I want to speak." We said, "Okay." So we let her speak to the crowd as we were doing our training. And she got up and she said, "My name is Daisy, and I was just like all of you. I was lazy, I was skeptic, and I didn't believe. But with this light, I changed my life. I now have a charcoal business, and now I can send my kids to school, and now I have chickens and goats and pigs." And we've gone back year after year, and now Daisy's one of our best translators. Her English is still not great, but the point is she is a walking success story, and she believes in it, and she shares our love and our heart and our passion for this project.
I was at Playboy magazine for 18 years. And the thing that I absolutely love about Watts of Love is it allows me to tell stories of people that otherwise no one would ever hear their stories. For my old job, I used to work with celebrities, people that were famous, people that were known across the globe and the world. Everybody kind of knows their stories. Everybody, knows some aspect of them. For the people that I photograph now, I find them more beautiful, more authentic, more real than anybody that I've ever worked with before in my previous life. And, just to see their humanity, to see how amazed that they are that we've come to visit them, that we give them this, what seems to be an incredibly small gift, but the way that they receive it And then the pride that they have in being photographed with it. When we'll go back and we're fortunate enough to be welcomed back into their homes, and we see that they've put the box up in a specific place of honor. They have their empowerment poster hung up someplace so they can see it. It's just really powerful. It's really real. It's really raw, and there's nothing fabricated about it at all.
As a young girl, I went on a mission trip and I thought this was incredible. I went home and I shared with everyone I want to do mission work for the rest of my life, but that's not how things are. So I went and I got a corporate job, worked in human resources and loved it, found myself in the gambling industry, and didn't think much of it until I had my reversion. And at that point I started thinking that there was a greater purpose and a greater calling for me. I love Watts of Love because it's such a simple solution. The light, it just has a simple design, and there's so many ways that it can help. And I think if you got all the smartest people in the world together and said, let's find a way to increase education, to improve health, to make people's lives safer, and to give them extra income, to alleviate poverty, I don't think anyone would come up with the idea of lights.
My background is in high-end jewelry sales for Cartier. I served probably the top 1% of the world selling high-end jewelry, and now we're serving the bottom 1% of the world. In my journey with Watts of Love, really one of the biggest lessons is trusting in God, trusting in the desires that He's placed inside of our heart, no matter how crazy or big they may seem, just taking that first step. And for me, taking that first step with Watts of Love and bringing the 1,000 solar lights and them all being stuck in customs, and really being there and feeling like I was going to be a failure, but trusting that God can just use those 3 simple lights to show me and to teach me the fact that we were willing to go, still go, and to listen to the desires and how we were going to impact the people's lives. Really, I believe that my heart was transformed in trusting God and partnering with Holy Spirit. And through this process, just realizing what is needed and the impact that we can have globally together as a community, and trusting that God has a vision to be the light and bring the light.
Someone who's used media a lot in evangelization, so I believe in the importance of Catholic radio, Catholic TV, Catholics using the new media. Can I encourage everyone to watch Shalom TV? I think it's a great vehicle of evangelization. And God bless all of you.